In this video I've got this very bland looking thing, but believe it or not, it's actually another boombox, or a proto-boombox as I tend to call them. We've got a connection there. This is one of these old fold open ones, not the sort of cool portable stereo thing that a kid would want to own or something, or even an adult for that matter. These are much more a utilitarian device, and they're often owned by schools and the like. And so what we actually do is we do have a carry handle at least. We undo this latch and we open it up. And oh, we've got nice fake wood grain. Didn't expect that. Usually they're just bland black things. So that was the idea. It's a nice sort of compact portable device, but you don't want to be playing it. I mean, you know, what sort of degenerate would want to be playing their boombox while carrying it? This is, you know, this is for serious people. So definitely one for school teachers and stuff that you want to carry it to your room, set it up and use it. So they never thought about people actually, you know, stick it on their shoulder or something terrible like that. This was designed to be carried into position, then opened up, and of course we can unhook this. Do we have any, I don't know if I'm meant to pull on that. Oh, here we go. We've got an open, if I can get that to come unhooked. There'll be a bunch of wire in there probably, so you can get some channel separation. But is this stuck closed? There's something broken here as well, I think. Yeah, this is starting to pop apart. Probably going to have to open it up anyway, because we're going to have a play with this thing. Is that thing, there's something sticking out there. Is that holding it shut? Oh, there we go. Oh, sort of. It moved at least. I don't like to force these things because it's a good way to break them. Let's see if I can prise these tabs. That's not doing much either. That's, well, it moved and then it got stuck again. Oh, actually, maybe you just push it out now. That might be the issue. Oh, we've got a mains cord, have we? I hope so. The American plug, but these things are very hard to get hold of these days, so that's an added bonus. It's worth wasting $5 on it after all. Even though I can cut that plug off and put a better one on. But these square plugs are super hard to get now. Some of them you can just fit a figure 8. This one might even have a figure 8 fit it. Looks like someone's maybe replaced that plug at some stage. I've got a little bit of length here, around a metre or so, to extend this out. And yeah, this is all popping apart. Well, I guess while I'm messing with this, let's just have a quick look inside it and see what sort of lame speaker we got in here. It's probably like a AM radio, transistor radio speaker. I can actually see it as an oval one, I think. Just make it out through the grill in the back. Oh, that's a round one. So it's your standard like 100mm. You know, it's 1.5 watts, not 15 watts. Japan, 4 ohms. And yeah, just your bits of wire. Oh, they're actually, that's interesting. I would have known that if I hadn't looked. Speakers hooked to these two hinges and they actually connect it. So you don't need to plug it in if you go through those. You know, they're looking pretty dodgy these days. Don't know how good the contacts will be, but you can hook it up just by attaching it. So that's a new one. Didn't know that. They probably all like that, but I've never known that. And we've got the end busted off it. These they really don't have a lot of value, these things. They're just a bit of a curiosity at this stage. You don't see them around that often. Probably most of them got thrown out a long time ago. I think they all stopped working a long time ago. Usually. But I think they're kind of fascinating just as a different era. I do have an old national one here somewhere I must dig out that I bought a couple of years ago, and I don't think I've ever done anything with it since. But that's a bit more fancy than this one, I think. And it possibly has 2 detachable speakers, I can't remember. Some of them come in quite bigger cases than this, and they fold out from the front, or they just split in half. don't actually have hinges. All sorts of different ways of doing it. But anyway, at least we've patched up our speaker. I guess I should have checked it was actually still intact, but I'm sure it will be. Pretty rare anything ever went wrong with this sort of stuff. I'll say that's good. And yeah, these pins are quite bent. So it's had a bit of a rough life, I think. Very heavy too, considering what it is. Oops, something's loose in there, but yeah, we've got external speakers, auxiliary input, remote and mic. Oh, we're set to 240 volts, yes we are. 6D size, but oh, don't tell me it takes batteries. I hate these things when they're heavy and they take batteries. That's a bad sign. Oh no, we're not full of batteries, so they have leaked in there at some stage. That was always a problem. People put batteries in and completely forgot about it until they went to use it again and realised there was an issue. There's a lot of rattly bits and some of them are coming out. What on earth is that? Something grey coloured. I don't like the look of that much. And will the tape deck work? Unlikely. You can do the old twist the pins and stick them in the Australian PowerPoint trick, as most people did. But you've got to be super careful because they don't push right in usually, and you've got two bare bits. So I don't recommend actually doing it. Yeah, that sort of covers it up, but no. Best thing is cut that plug off and toss it and put a Australian figure 8 on there. Now, how do we... Oh, blue eject button. Play. Is that going the right direction? I think... Oh yeah, we are going the right direction because it's upside down. We've got heads in place. I can hear the amp running. It's going both. I don't know, yeah, for some reason both reels are turning in rewind, but we've only got any torque on the one. This actually might actually be a goer. So fast forward doesn't lock. I'm not sure if it should, but possibly not. Probably made not to. Motor makes quite a bit of noise. Well, the capstan spins well because it takes a while to wind down. Got a tape counter. 2 microphones I assume would be in there. Very bland speaker, no silver dust caps or anything in these things. And mic on and off. Volume, balance. Oh well, let's chuck our love songs or something tape in there. See if we get any sound. Sounds pretty horrible, like most of them did. Clunky door on it that springs open with no dampening, although maybe something's wrong to cause that, but whoop, something coming out of there when I bang on those as well. Certainly needs a head clean, I think. Oh man, look at that. That's absolutely filthy. That's the dirtiest head I think I've ever cleaned. My God, I don't think I've ever had that much stuff come off with a tape head. Someone's been using 70s tapes in here, but look at it, because they tended to fail and fall to bits like that. God, still coming off. Shame I couldn't actually, I just can't see the head through the door very well, because that would have been a sight to see. But maybe that's why I couldn't really see the pole pieces of the head, because they were coated. Give the erase head a wipe as well. Yeah, the capstan's filthy as well, and it's got a load of dust or something around it. We may have to pull this to bits to clean that. Pinch roller you can barely get to. They were never made for ease of access, these things. But let's see what it sounds like after a clean. Well, it's not too bad, except this speaker keeps dropping out because I'm only connected via the hinges, which I thought would be the case.
I'm gonna have to change this thing, so let's stop it for a sec.
Okay, let's do it.
Yeah, making a lot of noise. But I doubt it's ever played anything that modern before. But it is a proper stereo one at least. What on earth is that? That's dropped out of it. Don't think I'll ever get used to the buttons on it. They're all over the place. Eject, stop, sort of otherwise similar. And we've got a battery meter. Yeah, mic on off. Let's have a quick look inside and just see why it's making so much noise. Nothing much exciting in these things. Yeah, a bit of rust in there, or leakage from battery anyway. I could have at least left some money in there. We've got a tiny white bit of plastic. I think that might have fallen out of a black something. Oh, that'd be a bit of melted plastic over a circuit board or something maybe, I don't know. A washer, a bit of tape type stuff. Oh man. So similar speaker on this side, probably identical. Oh, my meter's falling out. Tape set its day on that. One of that plastic bit's probably just one of these little pins on the chassis. Belt's a little on the slippy side. It's not doing bad for its age, I've got to say that's quite amazing it's still that good. Yeah, that's the bit to lift the batteries out, not looking very pretty. Lots of green growing on the battery terminal. Other one's not too bad, a little bit worse for wear. File that off a bit. Don't think anyone's going to be using this off batteries ever again, but what is this? I just bumped something there. Oh my god, there's a metal. Oh, so someone's lost the pin out of the end of their 3.5mm plug. What's the bet? That was the old one that was on here, and they've pulled it out of the socket, and that's fallen inside, so good thing that fell out. It was sitting right on the circuit board. Don't want metallic objects floating around. But with a bit of cleanup, that'd go again. That would probably work right now, fine. And I wouldn't want just having to listen to this motor because it was making a lot of noise and running on after play was stopped. Yeah, quite a noisy old motor. You know, you got a real capstan when it winds on that long after you press stop. Don't see that in more modern stuff. Look at that run on, that's crazy. That's just the mass of that, I think, but the motor definitely sounds a bit dodgy. Better be careful because there's 240 volts on that thing. That definitely needs a clean, I think. Let's see if I get that belt back on. It definitely needs a new belt as well. But I'm not sure I'm going to go to that much trouble. It's quite easy to change at least. Just a matter of removing this bracket or even just loosening it so the belt will slide out under it. And put a new one in there, so that's nice and simple. Now that board seems to be loose, so there's a bracket loose, that's why. Not sure there's much point taking that apart. Be interesting to see what sort of tape deck it's got and to give it a clean, I guess. Does that bracket hold anything else together, or does that just come loose? Well, it's the threading or whatever on it has gone. I'm not sure if that's just in the metal or what it is. Does that go into the chassis or anything? I don't know what to unscrew here. Oh, we've got a red screw there. Or does it pull out? I don't know. Do we have to take that post off? That's the door, I think, there. So we're going to unscrew the circuit board from the bottom and the top. I think someone's had this apart, or just something's caused the little screws to come loose anyway. Got a record playback switch I can see. Well, there's some wires hanging on here that don't seem to want to go anywhere. Here's a whole bunch of wires under there. 2 single record playback switches. Let's undo these sockets and see what happens. Right, now you're starting to see that tape mech, and you can move things a little bit further. Some of these wires are hooked onto that little clamp there. That's twisted right around, not just folded over. So the deck is held. Oh, what have we done here? Unscrewed there's a counter belt on the other side by the look of it. Yeah, that hexagonal piece needs to come as I expected. Screw there. Another red screw on the bottom here. Where did I put the other red screw? I don't know. Over here. Start left, looks like something's up the top corner somewhere. It pivots like it's held right by that screw. Same time I'm going to take the door off. Yeah, there's a screw inside the door at the top there. No real standard way to build things back then. Actually, I want the door ejected probably because it's going to hold the thing together as well. Can we get this sort of without taking everything else apart? But all the wiring is going to be the issue, including a couple of wires that go down to what? If we lift the clamp for them up, oh, it's a microphone, I think. Can I lift that out? Of course I can't. Yeah, grey and yellow wire, which I no doubt just soldered on the board. There's a little transistor soldered on the back here. I wonder if that was factory or later. We've got a connection to one of our speakers here. I might see if I can unscrew that then. Let's get that loose. I guess there's one going to this one at the front as well, and the microphone that looks like we can unscrew. Oh yeah, that's got it loose. Don't know whether we really need to undo this last speaker, but at least that is enough to get to the mechanism enough to clean it. Oh, that's the, I was going to say, well, was there a bit of metal in there? That's just that. So that's our mechanism. Oh, I just wiped off whatever was written on there. Not sure who made these, whether they're an early Tanishan or some other mech. I think Sanyo used to make quite a lot of their own, or at least have ones that weren't of any obvious standard design. heels are dirty. I think that head's got a bit of wear on it. Oh yeah. Oh man. Yeah, head's had a lot of use. It's actually got a slot worn in it. That was probably where all that oxide was sitting. There's still oxide coming off it, amazing. That was filthy. But that would be a candidate for replacement maybe. Yep, definitely an edge, so it's worn the whole face of the head down right across the one edge of it. So this is a high hours machine. At least someone got their money's worth out of it. That race head had a lot of muck on it. Capstan is rather filthy as well. But someone kept playing this until it sounded terrible. But you really can't beat with these old ones, getting the mech out to clean them. So you can actually see what you're working on and make sure you get everything. And that pinch roll is filthy. There's a tiny little belt there for the counter. Still works. Guess it probably wants replacing before it turns to goo, but everything's quite good in this one as far as that. Must have been stored in a good location. And it's one of these old school motors with this sort of clamped together bit on it. How do they actually come apart? I think they split apart in the middle or something, but I don't know that I want to go to that extent. Possibly a little bit quieter than it was. A little noisier and once you get it faster, I think. I'm thinking I can probably put a drop of oil on there. See if we can get that down into the motor. Just got to keep it away from the belt, of course. Can I carefully drop it down? Yeah, a couple of drips there. If I can get them to run down to where the motor is. Are they going down there? I can't see where they're gone. They've vanished. That's it. Try and get it down onto that shaft. And then clean off any that might have got on the pulley. A bit on the side there. Possibly a little bit quieter. It hasn't made a lot of difference. Worth a try though. So I don't fancy pulling the whole motor to bits in this one. I don't think I'll even bother replacing the belt in this one. It was more just to have a look at. Out of interest, let's plug the other speaker back in. I think that's the top one is the other speaker, otherwise you're cutting off the main one. Yeah, it's not sounding too bad for an old one like this. Certainly sounds a bit better than it did before. Oh yeah, that's right, this meter's dropped out for some reason. If we put it back together, will it hold it there? I don't know, but it's probably had some glue. I was sort of sitting there, and then of course, as I say that, it falls out again. But I'm not too fussed about it. Oh, yeah, there's a little piece that holds it in place by the look of it, so there you go. They actually made it to be held in place by the back cover. That's sort of taken being economic with the fixings a little bit too far probably, but I guess not many people ever came inside here, probably, or possibly no one ever has been in here before, so it really doesn't matter that much. Might just see if we can bend these back a bit better. Oh, what is that made out of? It's very flimsy. God, I was expecting it to be put up a fight, but that's really soft. And it's got some sort of bit of split metal. I wonder if that's meant to be split apart so it sort of holds it. That might explain it. But yeah, really flimsy metal. I'm actually shocked how easy that bends. Yeah, if I split them apart a bit, that's probably designed to sort of spring out a bit and hold these bits together. They're quite hard to line both up at the same time a lot of the time. Can we get there? Oh yeah, that's it. That feels much better because they're actually, yeah, they don't just fall off now. So quite a weird looking unit. But it's a flip box, flip boom box. Probably kind of one of a kind. Yeah, it's tilting down a little bit, so it's still a bit bent on those hinges. I'll actually move around there, kind of tighten that. They probably work loose a bit over time. But the actual, yeah, that one's loose because it was moving around, although it doesn't feel like that. It is going to tighten, that's good. Didn't think it was for a minute. That's a lot of threaded work that's way loose. Yeah, it does droop a little bit at one end. But yeah, that's got to be quite a unique boombox in that sense, that it flips open like that. I think the other thing I need to do here is actually bend these little tabs over because they're meant to stop it dropping any further by the look of it. They're pretty bent, these units. Or do we bend these pins back? They're so flimsy I don't really want to bend them. But if I can get those little posts back a bit further, they should stop the thing dropping too far. But these were really poorly made, I have to say. They kind of stuffed up making them out of something way too soft. I guess the fact that they're split pin like that is probably why they're so soft. So normally the Japanese are pretty good at designing stuff like that, but I don't think these were really made up to be strong enough in the real world. Yeah, that's where it should sit. So yeah, it's got a little finger that goes in a hole. The other little finger bit comes in and stops them dropping any further. So there you have it, a one-of-a-kind flip box. I don't think there's too many boom boxes like that around. Unfortunately, it's a not so pretty old 70s one, but kind of a unique design. Nothing to really stop the two bits. It looks like it bangs together with them. I know maybe it's where the plastic is. I thought it was going to be where that microphone is, but they have put a slot here to avoid the microphones. They could have put the microphone over the other side for a bit more separation, but that would be fine for most things, I would think. Clips together. Yeah, that's a lot better now than it was before. It was coming apart and stuff, so I think, yeah, see that other little pin, yeah, when it's in there, when this is swung around, the other pin holds it so the hinges can't separate. They go into the little hole. So that's more like what it should be, but yeah, ideally this wants new hinges altogether. I think they're somewhat bent still. And that was the idea. You can carry it around like so. Quite heavy for what it is. Obviously put my cords and stuff back in that box. And you could almost store a tape or two in there, I would think. Actually cassette, so I think that's a cassette holder. Yeah, that looks like it's a little cassette area, so you can hold a couple of cassettes in there. Oops, I just wrecked the foam. No surprises there. Cord could go down in there. That's where that's meant to go. You had your mains cord and maybe a couple other things in there, so that's a pretty cool design. Not many boom boxes have internal tape storage, so I get a feeling something existed along those lines. You could either press it on the back or something in one of the models. Then we can open her up. Got a nice little flip box. Oh, they've come off. Oh, because we're allowed to come off now. So got to remember, in that mode it shouldn't come apart. In that mode it can be lifted off and plugged in via the cord. Quite hard to get these things lined up. Slowly getting the hang of it now. So yeah, a bit of a unique design. There's not many flip boom boxes out there, I don't think. But unfortunately not one of the proper boom boxes. Like I say, more a proto boom box, more a utilitarian kind of cassette player for schools and I guess other assemblies of people or something, maybe salesmen or something, who knows what they're for. But that kind of use. Yeah, our meter's now in place. I guess we'll give it one more run. And I guess interestingly, you can probably run this thing closed because there's nothing to really stop it, I don't think. No, power would be good. Yep. Just get the bass out the back of the speakers. Motor's still a little noisy there. But anyway, you probably won't see one of those again in a hurry. Kind of a more interesting design than the later ones, but also designed to be compact and portable. Why they didn't just make it as a single unit only makes it a little bit longer, so it's not really much of an improvement, and you've got the unreliability and damage you can cause to these extra hinge parts. But this one's actually a bit cooler than I expected it to be. A bit more of an interesting unit. Ideally it really does want new belts and all the rest, but I can't see me ever using this for anything more than maybe a display of just an interesting old school early boombox type unit, because of course most of them are just this half a mono. I guess that's the other beauty about this, is we can get rid of this bit and we've got a mono recorder. Well, it can actually record in stereo still, but we've got a mono player, so you've got the option. I guess the one thing that makes this a little bit more flexible is we can just take the half of it. It weighs so much it feels heavier than most stereo boom boxes, to be honest. A lot of metal chassis and stuff in the thing. That button, clunky old door on it. So I guess that's really the only advantage I can see, is you could halve this thing, carry it around, but that bit weighs, you know, virtually nothing. You could pick it up with a little finger. This thing, well, I guess you can pick it up with a little finger, but that's like 5 kilos or something. I reckon it's certainly pretty heavy. Somewhere between 3 and 5 or something, I would guess. But anyway, another interesting bit of old 70s technology. I'll dig out the old National one I got and we'll have a look at that sometime. That's a similar, I think it goes together in the two bits. But I had a feeling it might have 2 separate speakers. I can't remember now. I'll have to dig that out. It might be the same setup with one speaker in one half, and that's probably the more common sense way for them to build them. And these things are still around. But I don't think anyone really collects this type of thing. So they are kind of interesting because they're rarer. There wasn't a lot of these sold, I don't think. Not like the mass-produced sort of 80s boom boxes. These would have been pretty expensive and only really for people that needed them. You'd probably either buy a hi-fi unit for home, or for portable, most people just buy a mono one, probably a radio and cassette, because this one has no radio in it. It's purely a cassette player. So a bit of a different unit, but anyway, thanks for watching.